We're going to start today in seated posture, just using the block prop as we did, and coming into seated posture, sitting up nice and tall, just taking a couple of nice deep breaths. Letting the shoulders relax a little bit. I'm just seeing how we feel, how open the hips are, how easy it is to bend the knees, ankles comfortable, etc. And then we'll just take the hands together, interlace them, and we'll just have a little bit of a wrist roll. And then we'll shake out the fingers a little bit. Bring the hands gently onto the collarbones to do some angel wings. Lifting up, rolling back, and just noticing how the shoulders feel first thing in the morning. Drawing the elbows together. Lifting up, just following the breath and attempting to lift the elbows up without lifting the knees higher. They tend to sort of draw in together. So we'll see if we can relax those down as you lift the elbows up. It really does emphasize the fact that our shoulders and our hips mirror each other. And we'll take a couple of easy revolutions the opposite way. Let the arms float out wide. And we'll just take a surface stretch, right arm across the chest. Breathe into the back of the shoulders. And release that out. We'll come across the opposite side. Release from there. So we're going to come down to the floor. I'm going to move the block out to the side. Start with the knees high, chin towards the chest. Use your hands behind for support. As you come down, so we're looking for a nice long flat back, so you can wriggle that out a little bit. And then keeping the feet in the center line and close to the bottom, we'll draw the right knee in towards the chest. Just interlace the hands around and the shin and slide the left heel out. So I'm going to try and send the sitting bones away and send the heel of the left foot away. Turn the thigh in just a fraction. Draw the belly in towards the spine. And then ease the knee in towards the armpit on the right side. And for release, slide the heel back in, drop the leg to the other side. So knee in towards the chest, kind of into the center line. Slide that right heel out. Try to keep it connected to the floor. Turn the thigh in a little way, belly in. Two sitting bones evenly drawn towards the front end of the mat. Just lengthen your heel out. And then whilst you maintain that, See if you can guide that left knee towards the armpit, out towards the side of the ribs a little. So hopefully you can connect your mind not to simply just the leg you're drawing in, but also the leg you're lengthening out, and feel the stretch through the groins as you move the legs in two directions. Release. Bring the feet back in. And we'll take Supta Padangusthasana. So we'll draw right in towards the chest, hands around the back of the hamstring, and ease that leg towards the sky. And so, as you know, we press the hamstring into the hands, so the leg is pushing away just a little whilst the heel lifts, foot is flexed, and try and draw the hip down at the same time. So we're actually moving that leg in three directions. And that should come down. And we'll take the opposite leg out. And we'll rest that foot down as well. And put the hands up towards the sky. And as you do, allow yourself to take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And then continue to drop the hands down to the floor behind you. Try and keep the spine nice and long. Lengthen the legs out down the center line of the mat. And shimmy the shoulders over towards the right side. Flatten the body against the ground, try to get even weight through both shoulder blades. And then we'll ease the feet towards the right corner as well. Again, just looking to get that really nice flat side bend. So we're trying to hold both halves of the pelvis down towards the floor. There's a tendency for the, in this case, the left hip to lift. So you can actually press that down a little bit. If we were doing this more as a yin pose, we'd be trying to relax it in, but we're doing a hatha, so a little bit more dynamic. So we're actually trying to press it down a little bit. And we'll come back into the center with the legs and the shoulders, and just change the grip over. And then we'll shimmy the shoulders, the body out. And we'll take the legs over. So there's little pauses, just give us a time to feel the body, to realign, to move it around and adjust. Feet are together. Try and hold the right hip down now this time. Right shoulder blade. One last breath in. And bring ourselves back into the center. We'll slide the heels back in, hands come back, let the shoulders recover a little bit. Have a wriggle from side to side, and then we'll use that momentum to roll onto our right side. Use the hands to press down and lift up slowly. So we're spinning around towards the front of the mat to come into cat-cow, onto all fours. And we'll just maraud a little bit through the shoulders, through the wrists, forearms, the hips, just rocking a little bit from side to side. I'm still trying to keep the head more or less in line with the body. At the moment, we're not really pressing down into the floor to bring ourselves into that neutral spine. It's a little bit of a soggy tabletop. And then we'll press down a little bit more. So we just liven that up a little bit, become a little more energetic, we press into the shins a little bit more, we spread into the fingers. And then we can take our cat-cow. So just drawing the chest forwards. Shoulders back a little bit, tilt the tailbone high. Taking into the opposite direction, pelvis changes, draw the belly in, round through. First few, if you're a little bit stiff in the body, they're going to be not the maximum sort of stretch that you're used to in your evening classes. So worry about that. That's your body just waking up a little bit, and that's the whole idea of mobilizing just for a little while at the beginning of the class. So all is good. The plan is working. Then come into neutral. Let the knees come wide and sit down onto the heels for child's pose. So bum goes down first, then the hands walk out. And we're going to try and keep the shoulders relaxed and wide, but we want the arms to be straight and the forearms off of the ground. So we're very lightly pressing the hands into the floor, just enough to recognize that we are pressing down. If that makes any sense at all. So just liven up the back of the triceps a little bit and wake up the forearms. No real big sort of trembly stretches or anything. It's not completely passive. So send the tailbone away a little bit, drawing the belly in. As you send your tailbone back, you'll feel your hips change just a little bit. Feel like they're pulling a little closer. And you might feel a little more into the glutes as well. And then we'll slowly lift the head and look up towards the front of the mat. Bring ourselves back up onto all fours. Ease the shoulders over the wrists. We're coming into our down dog. Tuck the toes underneath. Let ourselves lift the hips high. Just rocking that out nicely. Seeing how the feet feel about the idea of being stretched, as well as the ankles and the back of the calves. Let's stretch into the hamstrings as well. You're a bit tight in the shoulders, just bending the knees and holding them static allows you the chance to draw the belly in, send the hips high, and get that nice flat line between hands, shoulders and hips. And then we can work on pressing the legs out. Which is really just drawing your heels towards the back of the mat. Pressing down. Making sure the hands are flat to the floor. Good. You can take a little breath from here and draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring that into a lunge. And once we arrive, we'll take it into a twist, taking the right hand towards the sky as we press out through the back heel. It points towards the sky, and we try to drop the hips a little bit. Bring the hand back down to the floor. Step back into our down dog. And we draw the left knee in. Bring that through and take the lift to the left. Bring that hand down, step back into the dog. Right leg lunge. Inhale, twist. Exhale, down. Into your dog. Left leg in. Lunge. Inhale, left. Arm raises. Down. To the dog. Right knee in. To the lunge. To the left. And down. And back. Left leg in. Through. Twist. Exhale. And back. Right leg in. Through. Twist. And down. And back. And left leg. And open. Down. And back. Right leg. Last one. And this time we'll step into the front of the mat. Forward bend. Let the hands come onto the shins to lift up halfway. So try to have the weight even in the feet rather than just leaning into the back of the heels. Warmer. Always a good sign. Hands back down to the floor and fold it in. Feeling again the glutes stretching out a little bit, especially if they're tight. So drawing the belly in and folding yourself carefully onto the thighs and trying to lift the hips up. So the lift hips up, feet press down, get a ground reaction. Bring the hands onto the hips, soften the knees a little. Lift ourselves up, feel the glutes draw us up and the lower back. We'll take the hands high and towards the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Hands onto the hips, shoulders and elbows back. Feel the thighs and glutes firing up. Shake it all out. So I'm going to stand off of my mat. Ready for standing leg balance. And we're going to take the standing leg balance into tree pose. So we're not going to drop the foot back down to the floor. We're going to flow from one straight into the other. We'll lengthen through that left leg. Press that down. Find your focus point. And then we're slowly going to draw the right knee towards the chest. So we bring the knee to the hip, height, find a balance. Just qualify that first, how we feel. Squeeze the knee a little higher, try not to buckle the bottom knee. Hands come around the shin and draw in. Now, draw the belly in a little bit, shoulders back. Now I'm going to release the left hand and slide the right hand onto the inside of the thigh. Let the knee come out to the side and hook the heel into the top of the groin. Press the thigh and the foot together to get a good lock. And then take the right hand out and see if we can bring both hands up towards the sky. Now I know that I'm dangerously close to the light because I can feel the heat in my hand. So hopefully you're not suffering from the same problem. It's a minor distraction. Then we'll release the hands back out. Scoop the leg into the center, and bring the foot gently back down to the floor. Shake out the feet a little bit. Get on the ankles quite quickly. And then we'll bring your feet together again. And then towards the heart, loading into the right leg this time. Take a little time. And lift a little higher. And use the hands around the shin. We'll take the right hand out. Left hand slides in on the ankle. Hook the heel. Press them in. Left hand comes out. Then rise up towards the sky. Then the hands come down slowly. Hooking the knee back into the center, foot to the floor, shake it out a little bit. Then we'll step back easily onto our mat. We'll be near the front edge, feet hip distance apart, parallel. And then the hands in towards the heart. Going to soften the knees gently over the toes. Just feel the ankles working, get that little bit of spring in the legs. And then we'll load into the right leg to start with. So sliding the left heel from the ground. I'm going to slide the foot back as far as I can and come into a high crescent. So just finding my balance point. Actually, not easy this one. And then trying to bring the pelvis back into neutral. So you want to make sure that the front hips are pointing forwards, that they're lifted even from side to side, and that the tilt of the pelvis is turned. So that there's a three-dimensional movement there in the hips once you've taken the leg back. And then the hands can come out wide and up towards the sky. And feeling the glutes working again. We'll bring the hands in towards the heart. Now we're going to slowly drop the back heel down. We want the heel a little further away than the toes. We'll turn the body out to the long side of the mat and open into our warrior two. We'll turn the palm on the front hand into reverse warrior. So one arm lifts, one arm drops. Then we take the body over. We'll come back into our warrior two. Extend to the side angle. We'll take the forearm down. Use the top arm up. Turn the palm forwards and lengthen that hand out. And then lift the body up off of the thigh a little. Roll your chest around towards the sky. So you look a little more towards the back and up. We'll come back into our warrior two. Float the hands up. Rotate the hips and shoulders. Lengthen out. Bring the hands gently down to the floor. Spin the back heel. Come onto the fingertips. Push off the toes. Into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift up. Hands into the heart. Soften the knees. A little spring. Load into the left. Slide the right foot back. Again, you can have a couple of stabs. You want to think about the hips being square, the feet still being the hip distance apart for your balance. Draw the body up, tailbone tucks under, lifting the hips side to side. taking the hands high. So still drawing the belly in, sending the tailbone down. Trying to get those glutes to fire up in the pose. Mind body connection there. You need to feel the legs, but we don't want the glutes to be inactive. Bring the hands back in towards the heart. We're moving into our warrior two, so dropping that heel, then open the hands out wide again. Just turning the chest in, opening the groin, so the front knee always moves or feels like it's moving a little towards the little toes. You spin out from that high crescent. Turn into reverse warrior, so the hands move first, and then we'll take the body over. Strong back leg. Part of the advantage of having your hand on the thigh here is you can feel whether your leg is actually buckling or not. And then if it is, you can press down a little more and get that thigh to contract and draw it. We'll come back into our warrior two. Extend over for the side angle. Top arm lifts. The body lifts as well. The arm lifts out. And then to rotate the chest round, you're looking towards your armpits and slightly towards the back of the mat and up towards the sky. Forearm is pressing into the groin. Leg presses back, a little counter lever on the front arm. Leg. Back leg is still pressing down. A lot of work going on in this pose. More release. Back into warrior two. Hands come high. Rotate slowly. Lengthen out over the thigh. Hands to the floor. Spin the back foot. Step it in. To the fold. And then bring the hands onto the hips. And we lift up. So we're doing very similar again, but we're going to add triangle pose in. Hands into the heart, soften the knees. Keep a little spring. Load to the right. Left leg slides back. Allow yourself to bring yourself into that high crescent. So just taking the hands out slowly. Up to the sky. Bring the hands into the heart. Drop the heel. Open the groins into our warrior two. Turn the palm, reverse our warrior. Back into our warrior two. Extend the side angle. We'll come back into warrior two. And as we do, we're going to wrap the rear hand around to the front thigh. Straighten the front leg. And then lengthen out to drop that hip down on the front leg. And bring the hand down onto the shin. Roll the chest towards the sky. And we'll soften the front knee. Final lift into warrior two. Hands come high. Rotate. And lengthen out. Hands to the floor, spin the back heel, fingertips for the lunge. And step it gently back in. Hands onto the hips to lift up. So one last side to play with. Hands into the heart. Soften the knees. A little spring there. Make sure you're happy through the ankles and the feet. Load into the left. Right leg sliding back this time. Bringing the body back into neutral. So that tailbone tucks under, belly draws in, hands come high. Hands into the heart to drop the back heel down slowly. Open the chest alongside and open the arms out. Conscious of the back foot, remember the toes are ahead of the heel in terms of alignment to the front of the mat. Palm turns on the front arm. They lift and drop. And then we extend the body out. Let the hands slide down the back side a little. Being conscious of the front knee. A little bit out of your peripheral vision, so use a little more feeling into that leg. And come back, warrior two. Extend out. Lift up. Taking the hand over. Rolling the chest up. So you turn the hip a little bit as well when you roll the chest up. Come back into warrior two. Straighten the front leg. The rear hand comes around towards that front thigh. And lengthen out. And bring the hand down onto the shin. And the final softening of the knee for warrior two. Hands come high. We'll rotate. Hands come down. Spin. This time though, we're going to step back into our down dog. So treating this in the same way that we would the forward bend, it's letting the hips realign themselves after quite a lot of work there. So lifting those hips high. We'll take a three-legged dog. We'll scissor the right leg high. Allow ourselves to bend the knee and draw it in towards the chest. Ease into a plank with the knee in towards the chest. And then lift it back up into the down dog, press the foot down to the floor. We'll take the left leg high. And then draw the knee in towards the chest. Ease it into our down dog. Place the foot back down. Back into the plank. Let the knees come to the floor. And then bend the elbows back, keeping the elbows close into the body. We're trying to lie the chest down between the hands. The bottom stays high just temporarily. And then you slide your feet back to land onto the floor. We're taking Sphinx pose here. So bring the elbows forwards underneath the body. It's a strong pose to lift the chest up and forwards, roll the shoulders out, draw the belly in, press the thighs down, heels roll out just a fraction. Again, I want to be able to feel the glutes doing a little bit of work, and that's why we want to turn the heels out, so we're not squashing into our sciatic nerve, but we are firing the glutes and the legs in harmony with each other. Just a few more breaths here. Getting as much space in the spine as we can. And then we're down to the floor. As we arrive, we'll take the hands alongside the body, palms facing down, and we're going to take locust pose here. So we're lifting the hands, the chest, and the thighs simultaneously, but gradually away from the floor, and then letting them come back down. Inhaling up, rolling it back down. Inhaling up, down, got a few more to do. Try and lengthen out through the legs and avoid the knees bending if you can. Easier said than done. After all, you can't actually see your legs, so it is much of the touchy-feely sequence coming in there. Once you bow down on the floor, you can take a little breath and just bend the right knee, take the hand back, find that ankle, then walk the hand out towards the toe, press the palms of that hand onto the toes, and allow the shoulder to lift up, and bring the heel in towards the buttock. Press the hips down into the floor, lengthen the knee away. Chin stays on the ground, this version. One more breath. We can release. And then we'll draw the opposite leg in. Hand back, find the ankle. Walk the fingers out towards the end of the toes. Press the palm down so you can actually press the hand down onto the foot when the heel comes in towards the buttock. Lengthen the leg away. Press the thigh down. One more breath. Release. Bring the hands back alongside the body, roll the shoulders back to lift up on the exhale. Come easily into that seated pose where we're just dropping onto the heels. We're going to use the block as we lift up gently. Just make sure your spine feels comfortable. You're going from extension of the spine back into a neutral spine, but the gravity sort of loads and weight mean that your lower back's done quite a bit of work at that point. Legs out in front, sitting on the block, Dandasana, so it just flicks the toes back and lengthen out through the heels, and we'll use our time wisely to wriggle out through the sitting bones and draw ourselves up, just drawing the belly in a little bit. And once we've got all that connected, that left foot will come under and out towards the right hip with the knee pointed forwards and low on the ground. Right leg comes across, we tilt the pelvis forwards a little more, the spine lengthens. And we take the left hand up and cross over towards the right. We're taking the right hand behind the right hip. Try and keep the head level, eyes looking out to the side if you can, or looking gently towards that rear shoulder. The shoulders are relaxed down. So if you feel them hunched up around your back of your neck, and into your ears, you know, you need to let them drop a little bit. And then we'll release from there. And just take it into the second side. And then we can release from there as well. Taking both legs out in front. Going to draw the right heel into the groin, so knees out to the side. Square the hips a little bit. Bend into the front leg as the toes point up towards the sky. So lengthen the spine, fold over. Taking the hands out onto the foot and drawing the foot towards us. Drawing the rear hip on the left back a little bit. Interesting, rear hip, as if we had a front hip. I think you knew what I meant. And then we'll release. Take the leg back out. The left leg comes in. We square the hips. We'll bend in the knee. Foot is flexed. We lift up. Hinge from the hips. Keep the spine long and flat. Fold it over. Hands come over the top of the foot. We'll use the hands and the arms to draw the foot towards us and the chest forwards a little bit, but also the shoulders back. And at the same time, we just try and pull very lightly on the hip towards the back of the mat on the right side. Try and have the foot on the front leg pointing towards the sky. Most of us, the foot wants to roll out a little bit in the hip. So just as an alignment cue, just drawing it back in a little bit and working into the muscle fibers, into the back of the legs in a particular way. And then we're finished with that side of things. And then we'll come into Shavasana. So we'll use the block underneath the back of the head. We keep it away from the neck and the shoulders. The hands come behind, knees high. We're all down. As we land, we take the hands out about a ruler's length away from the body, and we take the feet out to the very corner edges of the mat, and let the legs roll out, and just wriggle everything out for a fraction of a second. Make sure the spine feels long, and the arms and legs are as relaxed as it can be. Licking the lips, and closing your eyes. Just let yourself breathe. Let it return back to a very normal, even, relaxed breath. Begin to wriggle his fingers and toes, wrists and ankles as we breathe a little deeper. Keep the body up. Use the exhale to stretch it out. And slide the heels back in towards the body. We'll take an easy hug. Just letting the knees come in. Rocking on the spine, whatever feels good. If you are rocking, you can rock yourself right over to the right side as you inhale. And as you come to the floor, exhale away. Smoothly lift back up to sitting. Spin into seated postures. Let the spine lift and the shoulders relax. Feels good. Hands in towards the heart. Take a breath in. Closing the eyes. Just slow exhale, letting the chin drop. Letting the belly draw to the spine. Bowing to the floor. Seals our practice. Inhale, let the spine lift. Head lift. Eyes open. Namaste. Enjoy my day. Enjoy your day. Right. See you soon.